Going up?
Should we start?
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Barcelona, to the MWC and to Huawei's 2024 Talent Summit, Nurturing Excellence in a Digital World. My name is Gavin Allen. I'm the Executive Editor-in-Chief for Huawei.
And my name is Maria Francesca Boga. I'm a Business Information Management student and Data Analytics student living in the Netherlands. And yeah, I have today the great honor to be co-hosting this event with Gavin Allen. And I can say also that this event will be live streamed in English, Spanish and Chinese.
And Maria is too modest to point out that really she encapsulates what this summit is all about, which is identifying and again nurturing high-level talent and, in fact, all potential talent in order to bring about the economic prosperity that we all want to see. Maria was one of the award winners of Huawei's Digital Seeds for the Future development program, and earlier this year spent time in China with other Seeds representatives, visiting seminars, attending workshops, and hopefully will agree when I say that it helped deepen her understanding of the interplay between digital innovation, digitalization, and, of course, sustainable growth. And underpinning all three of those is, of course, digital skills.
Yes, indeed. It was a great honor to go on that trip and take part in that program. I went with 20 European students to China, and I think my highlight was to network with local Chinese students and with Chinese professionals that were working in the sector of digitalization to sustainability. And yeah, for me it was a great boost, but in general I think we can all agree that investing in the young generation is a direct investment into your future communities and economies at a larger scale. And we'll address that today, and we'll also address the digital skills shortage and why this matters so much.
Which is why, of course, Huawei is so keen to back digital talent, because it's the core, the bedrock of any future digital transformation. And Huawei has partners around the world, has done so for more than 15 years now, bringing digital skills, helping development to tens of thousands of people. And I think it's great that in this room now, and you're sort of evidence of this, we have a sort of wide representation from government, from international organizations, from, of course, industry, universities, and also the media.
Yes, indeed. You have heard all these different representatives, and all these stakeholders play a vital role. And today we'll together discuss how ICT talent development enables digital inclusion and sustainable development. We'll start off with policymakers that tell us a bit more about how we can nurture the talent ecosystem. We'll go over to how we more effectively can train our trainers. We'll learn about projects and best practices across industries, hear of women in tech, their achievements and milestones. And last but not least, but also my favorite, hear about creative innovation and leadership from young people in my generation.
So as you can tell, it's quite a lot to pack into the two and a half hours or so that we have, those panel discussions and keynote speeches. And we'll have an array of distinguished guests from Kenya to Greece and Mexico to Thailand. So it is very much a global challenge. So it's useful for all of us to listen to, learn from and learn with all those representatives to hear about the various initiatives and potential solutions. Because I think above all, this will be an international partnership and collaboration to bring about the best possible digital sustainable future.
And with that, let's start the summit. We'll start the summit with our first keynote speaker. Here we'll look into how we can cultivate digital leadership. To speak about that and about the International Telecommunication Union's Generation Connect Young Leadership Program in partnership with Huawei, let's welcome the director of the ITU's Radio Communication Bureau, Mario Maniviec. Welcome to stage.
Officials from Huawei, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Good afternoon. So I'm the director of the Radio Communication Bureau at the International Telecommunication Union. But I'm here representing my fellow elected official, the director of the development sector, Mr. Cosmas Sabasaba, who was unable to come due to other official engagements, and he asked me to deliver some remarks on his behalf. So it's a pleasure for ITU to be present at this Huawei Talent Summit, where the spirit of innovation and digital inclusion resonates. At the ITU, our commitment to fostering digital empowerment, safety, access, and connectivity for everyone and everywhere is unwavering. I thank Huawei for their collaboration with ITU to empower young visionaries and develop their leadership potential through our Joint Generation Connect Young Leadership Program. This program serves to reinforce the pivotal role of the ICT talent development in digital transformation and the need to focus on nurturing the leadership capability of youth. In our fast-paced digital world, youth have to be at the center of our discussions on developing talent and nurturing excellence. As a generation of digital natives, young people are uniquely positioned to leverage ICTs as enablers to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and create a safer, more prosperous digital future for all. At the same time, we must also acknowledge that young changemakers are confronted with complex educational, financial, and socioeconomic barriers as they strive to bring their innovative ideas and solutions to fruition. I'm glad to share that ITU and Huawei are directly addressing these challenges and supporting the aspirations of young minds through the Generation Connect Young Leadership Program. Our joint purpose is to identify future young leaders across the world who are dedicated to championing digitalization through youth-led projects and grassroots levels. Over the course of a year, we will equip young innovators with mentorship, guidance, and financial assistance for them to turn their digital development ideas into real, concrete, and impactful projects. The aspiration of the Generation Connect Young Leadership Program is to empower participants with the opportunity and resources to meaningfully contribute and lead in the digital landscape while benefiting from trainings and unique learning experiences. This project builds on previous collaborations on youth issues. For example, over the last 2 years, Generation Connect Youth and Voice have been participants in Huawei Asia Pacific Seeds of the Future program. This epitomizes the power of global partnerships and initiatives to provide young people with genuine platforms to learn, contribute, and lead in the digital development sector and beyond. On behalf of the ITU, I extend gratitude to Huawei for this partnership, and I eagerly anticipate the global impact of this innovative project. Today marks the launch of the applications for the Generation Connect Young Leadership Program. I encourage everyone to share widely in your diverse networks and ensure youth from all parts of the globe are parts of the great movement. Together, let's continue to forge a digital world that is fully inclusive by all, for all. You will shortly see a video that contains more details on the application criteria. Thank you for your attention.
Gracias, Senor Manjevic. Thank you through you as well to Cosmos Zavazava and the ITU for, as you said, its unwavering commitment to realising that fully inclusive digital world. Next up, to look at the issue of international competition and exchange platforms, please welcome the Treasurer of the International Olympiad in Informatics and also the European Girls Olympiad in Informatics. And don't be alarmed if he has to hot foot off at the end of this. He's got to catch a plane. And that is Eliakim Schrijvers.
Hello, young students, esteemed guests. It's such a pleasure to talk to you today. My name is Eliakim Schrijvers, but you can just call me Kim. That makes life a lot easier for everybody, I think. And you may not recognize my face, but you may recognize the organization that I represent, the IOI, the International Olympiad in Informatics. It's one of the most renowned informatics competitions worldwide. But what does IOI stand for in real life? And please allow me to elaborate. Imagine being taken to a park with a large number of monuments scattered around the park. You don't know much about these monuments except how many there are. And you know that some monuments are connected by a path. You don't know locations, you don't know distances, you don't even know where the paths are located. All you know is that you're not allowed to walk on the grass, only on the paths, and you want to view as many monuments as possible. Well, given so little information, it would be very difficult to plan your trip. But what if you could ask a park ranger questions about the layout of the park? You could ask about paths between groups of monuments. Would you be able to figure out a smart way to ask the questions so you can visit as many monuments as possible without asking too many questions? Well, this is a problem of algorithmic nature. And related to that, the International Olympiad in Informatics is a competition in the field of algorithmic programming. It was started in 1989, and the best secondary school students from over 90 countries come together every year to participate in the IOI, competing to find the best, most creative, and efficient solutions to very interesting algorithmic problems. And since its inception, we at IOI have received support from many great allies. These partners have helped improve IOI, making us both more accessible to the algorithmically gifted from all corners of the globe, but also making the platform more efficient in terms of delivering knowledge and inspiring great ideas. And among these allies, Huawei is without doubt a very loyal friend, has always recognized the need to bring young talent in the STEM fields. And where IOI was created to solve problems, we continue to face a problem of our own at IOI. And it's not the level. Our problem is the diversity. We find that most years, only about 2.5% to 3% of the participants are not a boy. And this is also reflected in the leadership teams for the participating countries. The leaders often grow from the pool of past participants, so there are not too many female team leaders either. And at IOI, we think this is a problem, because we see that girls tend to be just as good as algorithms as boys. And we have a huge shortage of engineers, coders, and informatics researchers in the job market of any gender. We're missing out on a gigantic pool of female talent. Why don't we motivate this incredible group of young scientists to join our wonderful field of informatics technology and algorithms? Now you may ask, and I've been asked this many times, why am I, a middle-aged man, standing on this stage, and why don't we send a woman to talk about this, right? But there's a simple answer to this question. More girls, more diversity is not just an issue for the women. It's something that we all need to work on together to solve. We will all benefit from more smart minds. And with this in mind, let me introduce the European Girls Olympiad in Informatics, EGOI, which kicked off a couple of years ago. This is a competition similar to IOI, but only girls may participate. And yes, the word Europe is in there, and so it's primarily a European event, but this is to keep the travel costs for the participating teams low. Every year, we still see teams from around the world participate as guests, and this year, nearly 20 non-European countries will take part. And we are very happy and grateful that Huawei has recognized that we need to work on this great diversity initiative together. And it makes me very proud to announce that Huawei has decided to sponsor the European Girls Olympiad in Informatics in 2024. And they do this from their long-term vision, where they not only care about their own staff and customers, but also about our entire field in general. And if you realize that the EGOI participants are teenagers in high school that are not immediately available in the job market, I mean, not until they've completed university, right? It will take a long time. And this makes Huawei's dedication to EGOI even more admirable. And I think we need more companies like this to invest in the future generation, not eyeing just the short-term gain, but focusing on long-term growth of scientific progress. So let's motivate the girls, help them grow faster, and achieve higher results in the STEM field. And because of all this support, we can help more girls enjoy questions about monuments in parks with unknown paths. And those girls, they will enjoy thinking about these tasks, designing graph algorithms, writing proper source code and data structures to build the longest path from monument to monument. This year, EGOI will take place in July, and in a city very close to the beautiful Dutch city of Eindhoven, and that's home of a technical university. And I already see many girls in the audience here, and you may be interested in informatics, and I say, don't hesitate. Come check this out. This is a platform where you will not only increase your skills, but you meet like-minded ladies who will start out as your competitor, but they can become your mentor, your friend, and your best ally in what is at this moment still a male-dominated field. And at this point, there should be some QR codes coming up, because if you'd like to know more about either the European Girls Olympiad in Informatics, and maybe from the companies here or organizations, you share this vision and you would like to support future generations, or if you just want to learn more about this monumental algorithm problem that I just used as an example, go to either of the two links, or just send me an email. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Schrijvers. I really liked also the analogy with the monuments. And going further, we have also a third keynote speaker. She will discuss more about the topic of how we can more effectively train our trainers. So therefore, I'm delighted to present you the director of the UNESCO's Institute for Lifelong Learning, Isabel Kempf, and she sent us a video address.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed delegates, dear participants, many greetings from the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. I very much regret that I'm not able to be with you today in Barcelona, but I'm very happy to convey my message virtually. As we gather here today at the Huawei Talent Summit, it is imperative that we address a fundamental pillar of human rights and human development, lifelong learning. In these times of change, where we all face global challenges such as the climate crisis, conflict, and rapid technological developments, the importance of nurturing lifelong learners and critical thinkers cannot be overstated. Our collective future hangs upon our ability to adapt, innovate, and navigate the complexities of these societal challenges. The digital revolution has transformed the very fabric of our society. With the proliferation of information and communication technologies, barriers to knowledge acquisition have been lowered for much of the world, granting unprecedented access to a wealth of information. However, With this float of data comes a pressing need for individuals to develop the skills necessary to sift through, analyze, and synthesize information effectively. Lifelong learning provides the scaffolding upon which such skills are built, fostering a population capable of discerning fact from fiction. Moreover, in a digital economy characterized by constant disruption and innovation, the ability to adapt and upskill is paramount. Lifelong learning serves as the cornerstone, empowering individuals to remain agile in the face of change. Whether it be through formal education, vocational training, or self-directed learning, the pursuit of knowledge must be viewed as a lifelong endeavor. By cultivating a culture of continuous learning, we can ensure that everyone remains competitive in an ever-evolving job market, but also can play a role as an active citizen, shaping the visions for our societies. Furthermore, lifelong learning is intrinsically linked to the cultivation of critical thinking, a cornerstone of thriving societies. Given a media environment marked by proliferation of disinformation, misinformation, and algorithms, lifelong learners are not merely passive consumers of information. They are active participants in the marketplace of ideas, equipped with the tools to interrogate, evaluate, and challenge prevailing narratives. By fostering a population of critical thinkers, we lay the groundwork for a more informed and resilient society, capable of navigating the complexities of the digital age with discernment and nuance. Yet, for all its virtues, lifelong learning remains inaccessible to many. Inequalities in access to education and training persist, perpetuating socioeconomic differences. We must address these inequalities, ensuring that lifelong learning opportunities are accessible to all, regardless of socioeconomic background, gender, or geographic location. Only through inclusive and equitable education can we unlock the full potential of every individual and our societies, so that we foster a more just and inclusive society for all. To nurture digital talent, we also need to empower educators. They require digital skills, not only to effectively teach students who are growing up in a technology-driven environment, but also to convey digital skills to those who continue to face digital exclusion. That is why the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning launched a project to strengthen the digital skills among literacy educators in our efforts to fight illiteracy across the globe. It is being implemented across several countries of the UNESCO Global Alliance for Literacy. I am proud to announce today that with the kind support of our Global Alliance for Literacy Associate member, Huawei, we are able to launch the project in an additional country, the Kingdom of Morocco. We will implement the project in close cooperation with Morocco's National Agency to Combat Illiteracy and the UNESCO office in Rabat to unlock the potential of technology and access to quality learning. As part of this initiative, we will support 10,000 youth and adult literacy teachers, trainers, supervisors, and managers to use technologies in both literacy teaching and learning and in their professional development. Each of them will benefit from substantial trainings as part of the nationwide rollout in 2025. This is just one example of how we are making together with our partners an impact on the ground in the context of digital skills. We urge you to join UIL in promoting lifelong learning to develop critical, reflective, and adaptable learners for a digital economy. Lifelong learning provides the foundation upon which these skills are cultivated, empowering individuals to thrive. With these final words, I also warmly invite you all to join our I'm a Lifelong Learner campaign and provide testimony to the power of lifelong learning. Thank you very much.
So adapt, innovate, and navigate, and learning is a lifelong endeavour, as Ms. Kumpf rightly said. And our thanks to her and also to all our keynote speakers that we've heard so far. It's a slight change of format now as we go to a discussion forum. Connectivity and the sort of fullest embrace of digitalization should lead us on the path to an open, equitable, and ideally sustainable future. And so to discuss that issue of equity and sustainability, we're joined by 4 guests. They are the Governor and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Greek Public Employment Service, Dr. Spiros Protopsalpis, Zilfa Ayowiti, Director Partnerships, Innovation and Capacity at ICT Authority in Kenya, Lilian Kravtsov-Appel, the Rector of Open and Distance University in Mexico, and the Executive Director of the ASEAN Foundation, Dr. Piti Srisangnam. I'll invite all 4 of you to join me on the stage. So a question for all of you. First of all, thanks very much for all being here. Thank you for joining us. Question to all of you, and perhaps coming out of what we've heard so far. When it comes to talent cultivation, you all work in different ways and closely with private interests and companies such as Huawei. What advantages can that kind of partnership bring? And just take that in turn.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's great to be here. Your question is one that definitely has to be at the center of our conversations in the public sector, because the truth is that without partnering with the private sector, we can't really do what we are tasked to do. That is, close the digital divide, provide opportunities for everybody in the economy, make sure that the twin transitions of the economy, the digital and green, do not leave anybody behind, because we need to, it's easy to forget when you walk around here that there are a lot of people who still don't have basic digital skills. There are people who are digitally illiterate, people who cannot participate fully in the economy, in the society, in the democracy, without access to digital skills. And so the public employment services of Europe, and I belong to one of the countries, Greece, face this major challenge, which is how do you ensure that the entire workforce, from the youngest to the oldest, are able to participate and contribute in the economy. And in our case, in order to do that, we looked for solutions, and obviously we reached out to big tech, all the big tech companies, including Huawei, and we've partnered and we've had a lot of success in providing the unemployed, including with a focus on women, because I was hearing about the gender gap that is being discussed. And what we did is we came together and designed programs that allow people to go and learn things that the companies demand right now in the economy. Things that are not just things to learn for the sake of learning, things that you can learn and immediately become much more employable and have access to labor market entry or re-entry. So that is beneficial for those who participate, but it's also beneficial for our own organization, because by partnering with big tech companies and with the private sector, we find out about the latest trends, we find out about the methodologies that they use, we find out about their plans for what's coming ahead. Let's be honest, most times companies know more about what's coming down the road in the economy than government does, because they're in the market all day and they plan for the future and they get intel and they see what's happening and what's coming forward. So for government to partner with the private sector, I think is a no-brainer, and it's actually a necessity. And more we see public employment organizations such as mine reaching out and doing these sort of collaborations, because it's a win-win and the benefits are significant at many different levels.
Thank you. And what about the picture in Kenya?
Yeah, so thank you very much. In addition to what has been said by my colleague or speaker, I think one of the most critical thing on talent cultivation, we must understand that this is, we must be able to define the skills we need for our own countries. It's a process where we need to define what do we need from the young talents. If we define that clearly, in Kenya, what we've done is to develop a roadmap. And that roadmap gives us the various policies that we need to define and how the leadership need to support that. If we don't create an environment where policies are giving us an advantage in developing talents, the country has goals, and those goals will not be achieved because I and you will not be there tomorrow. So we've defined the policies and goals that we need to achieve for the young people. Besides that, we've defined various programs that accompany those goals. And we have several programs. Those programs are defined from a professional view where we have talents who are ICT and engineering. We also define talents that are still at the Tibet level because each talent will require different skills to be developed. At the grassroots level, we've also defined what type of skills do we need. In that way, we have a way to collaborate with partners to develop those skills that are required. Again, we'll give you a background on how many programs are these and how we are developing this in the country. We have several programs. This collaboration with the partners also provide us with a way to develop infrastructure that is available on each area. For instance, in the rural area, what infrastructure would be required to reach to the rural area? What infrastructure would be required at the Tibet level? And what infrastructure would be required at the either university level or post-university level? Again, Kenya has developed different infrastructure at all those points, and that gives us an edge to be able to reach out to the partners, and partners are able to pick at what level would they like to develop the skills. Again, I'll be sharing that. But remember, these partners gives us what we call access to professionals and expertise. They also give us what we call technology tools. And they also understand what is already in the market. And therefore, developing the talents at different levels also gives us an opportunity to ensure that the talents have the skills to reach the market. So one of the advantages of this is, besides access to the tools, they also have professional expertise that this kind of partnership provides. There are others, but I don't want to take away from my colleagues. This kind of collaboration also requires a well-defined curriculum for each of those levels. You have the policies, you have defined the roadmap, you then need to define the infrastructure. From there, you need to define how the curriculum fits in each of those. A young lady in the market who has knowledge of ICT would require a different type of curriculum, and therefore you need to define that. Again, you need to find out the TOTs that have the language or the cultural language that reaches out. Again, timing is very important for that type of collaboration, so that as you reach to the rural area, you know that the mamas cannot be able, mama means mothers, cannot be able to reach out during the day. They need to find some money. Small young ladies require some little money. And therefore, you define the timing or the schedules of the classes accordingly. So what I'm speaking about is that Kenya has defined a clear roadmap with different programs and policies attached to those programs. And it's very easy for collaborating partners to identify what type of infrastructure they would require. There are type of infrastructure like the DigiTrack, which is really thanks to Huawei, has provided us with the DigiTrack. Tomorrow we have that presentation tomorrow. That is at the rural area. Again, at the Tibet, what is the infrastructure there? We have what a program called Jitume. We also have what we call Ajira. So from the primary up to the university and post-university, clear roadmap on the things that need to be done. And it's very easy for partners to jump in and take what they need and then support us in skills development. Again, given the opportunity, I'll be able to expand on that. Again, we need to do what we call impact assessment. I think it's very clear to have roadmaps, to have policies, to have TOTs, to have schedules, to disintegrate the skills that you want to define. But there's the other thing to ensure that you have impact in what that you are doing. So Kenya, we have defined all that. I'd like to stop there and maybe give more in terms of employment in the next few minutes, if you give me the opportunity.
Sure, thank you. I'm sure we'll come back to that issue of rural areas and the mothers that you talked about. Piti Srisangam, do you want to pick up from there?
Yes, about the partnership, right?
Yeah, the partnership, and also potentially picking up on what Spiros was saying about how that evolves to ensure it has an impact.
Okay, yes, this is a very, very good question. But before I elaborate my opinions, let me first ask all of our audience, how many of you knows about ASEAN? How many of you heard about ASEAN Foundation? A few of them. ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations. We are the multi-level, multi-dimensions corporations among 10 Southeast Asian nations: Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar, and Vietnam. And, you know, this multi-dimensional and multi-level was, you know, covers so many range of area, from securities, politics, economics, social, cultures, everything from like birth to death of the Southeast Asian peoples. But we create that corporations with only one objective. That objective is to improve the quality of life of Southeast Asian peoples. And apart from the ASEAN, I mean the corporation itself, we have one international organization named ASEAN Foundations, where I worked. This organization was created in the year 1997 to do three things: to promote ASEAN awareness, to strengthen ASEAN identities, and to help build the so-called ASEAN communities. So that's my task as the executive directors of these international organizations. And of course, as the international organizations, private sectors, public, private, international organizations, partnerships is very, very important, especially for the organization like ASEAN Foundations, because from at least we work with private sectors like Huawei, and we benefit at least from three perspectives. The first one, these corporations between public and private, as well as international organizations, allow us to harness their expertise. We work with Huawei on so many projects. We work with other multinational companies as well, and we know that the best people in the industry work for private sectors. Right? Of course, the best persons who know theory work with the universities. I used to be the university professor for more than 20 years, I know that. But when it comes to the people who can make real things happen, under the tight budget, under the constraints, under the timeline, under the deadline, then you cannot consult only the university professor. You have to harness the expertise from the private sectors. And Huawei always gave us their best people to become the mentors. So that's the very first thing we need. The second one, of course, ASEAN is the group of 10 nation states, and more than 6 of them are the lower middle incomes. Hence, we are poor. Then we need to sustain our financial resources. And of course, we know that private sectors, multinational, we have to be realistic, right? And we know that the multinational companies, they make tons of monies. And they also would like to contribute back for the better futures of the whole world. And we know that. That's why we have to work with them in order to secure, in order to fix our budget constraint. We have to be realistic on that. And of course, last but not the least, this is also to continue from our esteemed participant as well, about how to make the project that create the real visibilities, create the real impact that can change the life of the people. We also need to make that project to relevance to the real constraint, to the real conditions of the industry. Hence, working with private sectors, we can, we can get the invaluable insight into the industry trend for effective program implementations. Hence, from that 3 mandates, ASEAN awareness, ASEAN identities, and ASEAN communities, we expand our scope of work into 6 areas. The first one is about capacity building. And we did get this, 3 things: insight, expertise, and money from multinational companies in order to empower our ASEAN youth to equip with a 21st century skill set. Then the second work area, we focus on community building. So we would like to bring the youth from 10 ASEAN countries to mingle, to make friends, to see each other, to build a network. Because this network will give them the large opportunities in the future, right? Who knows, one of them may become Prime Minister of Cambodia. Who knows, one of them may become the, President of the Philippines. Nobody knows. But if they keep mingle, if they keep in touch, then this network will be very, very useful. Then, of course, the third area, we focus on the environmental issues. Tech company like Huawei, like other tech company as well, these technologies provide a solutions that we can live sustainably, people life and environmentals. So we need to do that. And then the fourth area, we talk about arts and cultures. But we don't do arts and culture just to organize or curate the exhibitions, but we use art and cultures as the tools, as the mean to articulate the harder issues, such as human rights, such as the thing that very, very hard to make people understand. Inequalities, for example. Arts and cultures is the best way to make them easily understand, to intrigue their inner, would like to explore more about these issues. And then we work with, we worked on the fifth area we work with media in order to produce the content. We work with TikTok, we work with YouTube, we work with all kinds of social media. So please, if you would like to know more about ASEAN, with your mobile phone, with your favorite social media, you search the keywords, ASEAN Foundations, then you click like, click subscribe, click share. You will help us. This is the public-private partnership again, right? At the very, very individual level. So today I expect at least new 50 subscribe from you guys, okay? Don't make me feel sad. I fly 17 hours from Jakarta to Barcelona, so I expect at least 50 subscribe. And last but not the least, we also talk about small and medium-sized enterprises development as well. We would like to create you guys, the younger generations, to become the startup, to become the small and medium-sized enterprise. And then you'll not be that small forever. One day you may become multinational companies. One day you may become the unicorn, right? And of course, and when that times come, you will think, oh, I earned this because I work with ASEAN Foundations, and I work with, for example, Huawei or the private partners that we work together to make these Southeast Asian nations better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shamelessly taking advantage of the platform to appeal for engagement there. Different perspectives you talked of there. Let's hear them from the perspective of the Open and Distance University in Mexico.
Thank you. It's not fair being the last.
You could be first in the next round of questions.
No. I want to thank Huawei for having us here and have some time to reflect and think together about the challenges we have. From the university, we work very near with Huawei, fostering teachers' capabilities that then go to seeds the future for our students and help us certify them to get into the job opportunities. We work very hard not only to foster and understand new technologies, but also to use them technically, ethically, and for lifelong learning. We believe that it's not all technologies, not just because they're new, are the better. We do believe that we have to think together. And in that end, I would like to invite companies not only to train and to get, which is a lot, and bring together the technologies, the new technologies, but also to think together in the new future and design together solutions, because technologies are shaping our world, every corner of our world, and we have to rethink what world do we want to live in and think it together. Policymakers, governments, universities, and enterprises and technology industry. And that's our call. Thank you.
Sorry, come back in. You wanted to jump back in?
Yes, please. Yeah, so
Give it up.
are you able to hear me?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so thank you very much once again. I know I may not get another opportunity to expand on this, but as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to just give you our roadmap in Kenya and what we do. So Kenya has an ambitious plan in the current master plan to train 20 million citizens. This excludes public sector workforce. This also excludes ICT professionals. To do that, this is a massive number, and anyone would be scared on how to run this in 5 years. So what we've done is to actually provide a roadmap from primary to secondary, from primary to university and post-university. So the first thing we have done is to define the program. Program number 1 is to educate the professionals. In that program, we are intending to train over 2,000 professionals in the country in the first year. This is this year. To train the professionals, we collaborate with partners, and these partners include Huawei. So in 2015, before the master plan, we had defined a program called the Digital Talent Program. It's called the Presidential Digital Talent Program. This program takes young graduates of ICT and engineering and run through an internship program in government for 12 months. This program takes 3 months out of the 12 and send them to the private sector. Huawei was one of the founders of this program, and they have defined a well-structured program in terms of curriculum, mentorship, training. So the partners come in to provide certification and training. They come in to provide mentorship, and they also come in to provide employment. both government and the private sector run through this program, and we have the private sector as an advisory board meeting on a monthly basis to define what needs to be done. This program has so far trained over 2,500 trainees and has employed 2,000 both in the private sector and the public sector. What does this mean? Collaboration is key, and I'm glad to mention Huawei continue to employ, continue to mentor, and they continue to provide extra soft skills through their platform. In addition to that, on the skills, on the professionals, Huawei has continued to participate on the seeds, the telecom seeds. Again, here we have massive numbers already developed, and this accounts to the employment. The second category, upon completion of your degree, we have introduced a program called the Ajira Digital Program, which is really translated as employment. This program takes everyone in the country who can access digital and digitally enabled opportunities. Through this program, Kenya has been able to educate all the citizens in terms of how do you access to the platforms. We have been able to collaborate with partners in terms of how, if you are a platform partner or an aggregator of jobs. So we have put all the platform partners together. If you're a plumber, if you're dealing with jobs in the agriculture sector, all those have been aggregated into platform. So what we do is we have put those platforms together, we train, and we thank MasterCard Foundation. They have provided funding to be able to train this. We are training this. Thirdly, we are collecting database. Remember, this is the challenge every country gets. If you do not have a database of the young people, it is difficult for you to develop anything. So if you have the database for accountants, you have the database for software engineers, it is very easy to align them to the partners who provide jobs. So job leakages is not going to be easy for any country if we do not have a database. The area of collaboration, again, is in terms of identifying private sector to take up the responsibility of job linkages. It is important for each government to employ 3 to 4 companies, pay them so that they can provide job. Their role is to work day and night to look at the job categories, the skills categories, and be able to identify internationally, locally, how can the government play a role to provide. Through the Ajira program, we created employments in judiciary. How does e-government produce jobs? We've created jobs within the judiciary, all our automation, all our services within the government that are short-term, we are providing that to the youth. So it's critical to have different programs are defined, underlined to the jobs that we require and the skills that we are developing. This program is fruitful because we have placed mentorship centers within the universities. So if you go to the universities, you will find what we call Ajira centers. This is where the youths connect. This is where they do mentorship. This is where they do community reach. So they are taught how to move about to the communities and train the communities. But they have a club, so we call it Ajira Club. So that club is resonating with the youth very well. So that's at the university level. Now, as we proceed, you know very well that at the rural area, it's very difficult. So first, at the TVET, what are we doing there? Again, we've created a program that is called Jitume. The Jitume program is asking you to go yourself, or how do we translate that? Go and search for yourself. So Jitume in Kiswahili is go and look for yourself a job. So that means at the TVET level, we got different skills. And therefore, how do we define the skills at the TVET level? Then which program is resonating with the TVETs? More or less the technical programs. If you look at the rural area and you have CAC alone, the team doing CAC can actually supply to the whole community. And this is also added to what we call the platform, which is, we call it the SOCO, G-Connect SOCO, meaning you can sell online on G-Connect SOCO. It's like Jumia. So what happens, the TVET are able to do their work and sell all those products online. Again, what can the TVETs do? They are technical. We have linked all our collection centers for e-waste with the TVETs. What does that mean? You're also creating jobs within the TVET. The repair of all the country's devices are done within the national TVETs. But within the small TVETs, we are doing the collections. So you're already creating employment for the community around. The last part of our roadmap is to look at what happens to the markets. Again, there, we have created skills development with what we call the CIH. CIH are ICT centers or digital hubs. Currently, we have over 300 hubs across the country. We intend to do 1,450 hubs across the country to supplement the G2ME or the TVET hubs. What does that mean? It means at each and every stage, we are reaching out as we do the Wi-Fi, as we do the 100 kilometers of fiber. We are also looking at what stage, what can we put at that level? And at the TVET, at the CIH level, we are actually in the rural areas.
So I'm just going to jump in. I just want to make sure, go on, if you could summarize, I just want to make sure we get to the other three.
Yeah, so lastly is to mention that how do we work with Huawei on this? Again, we have provided at the rural area what we call the DigiTruck. The DigiTruck are the mobile containers that we are very grateful that Huawei developed with the government through ICT Authority. And this truck is moving from one center to another, educating the women, educating the children. So this has also enhanced our level of reaching out and scaling out to the rural area in terms of digital skills. And again, the jobs platforms are within the area. The agriculture aggregators are also there to ensure that all they are produced, once they are trained through other partners, they can be able to trade online. So we got various platforms that we are working, and we want to say this is not the end. We are still calling upon many partners to come and support us as we work together in this. Otherwise, issues of curriculum, issues of TOTs that understand the culture, the language, are critical when we are reaching out to the rural area. Again, we are around here in case you want more details on our roadmap and program and policies. We are here to support one another to ensure that the whole world is inclusive and we can develop our young people to ensure we have a real aggressive economies that can support each of us using ICT, or before the AI comes in to destroy everything, we shall be able to have our young people defend what we have created as communities across the world. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That was a very comprehensive picture of what's happening in Kenya. Can I just turn back to you, Spiros, about last year being the European Year of Skills? What impact did that have on the Greek Public Employment Service?
Not only in Greece, but across Europe. This was a monumental event. So Europe decided that 2023 was going to be the European Year of Skills, and it became the vehicle for a raising of the awareness among the population in Europe about the critical importance of constant upskilling and reskilling. You know, many of us grew up in a world where you went to school, then you went to college or to a vocational education institution, you graduated, you got a job, and never set your foot again in a classroom. That model is dead. That doesn't exist anymore. We're all going to constantly have to learn. That's going to have to be part of our jobs. In order to succeed, we're going to have to constantly adapt and learn new things. So in 2021, the leaders of Europe set a very ambitious goal. They said that by 2030, we want at least 60% of the population to participate at least once a year in upskilling, reskilling. As you can imagine, that is a very high bar, but one that we're going to have to meet if we are to succeed in achieving all of the goals that we've heard from our speakers today. Economic growth, social cohesion, community empowerment, making sure nobody's left behind, etc., etc. In order to achieve these things, we're going to have to make sure that people have access to training opportunities, and not only just to any training opportunities, to quality training opportunities, training that leads to jobs, training that leads to economic ladders of opportunity and success. And so in that context, what has happened is that many countries, including Greece, used a new funding source, the Recovery and Resilience Facility, billions of euros, which was used after the pandemic to speed up the recovery and make sure that the pandemic was left behind, and have invested significant funding in exactly doing that, upskilling and reskilling of the population. Greece itself, which is a small country of 10 million people, has put a goal of educating 500,000 workers and unemployed by 2025. We're already at 50%. We've educated 250,000 of them, and we're going to continue down that path. I believe that the challenge now is to make sure that what happens after the European Year of Skills, is the momentum continued? Is this something that we're going to have to build upon? And I believe that regardless of what we decide, because it's a necessity that comes out of the economy, out of life, I think that the focus, the laser focus that has been placed on skills in the past year is going to continue. To that end, and I'm closing with this, we need all hands on deck. And when I mean all hands on deck, we mean public, private, for-profit, non-profit, all ages, everybody, it has to be all-inclusive, because nobody can do it alone. Nobody can achieve everything that we've described by working alone. And so, closing, I want to thank again for the invitation, Huawei, for the opportunity to partner, and for having such an investment in partnerships that actually have an impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All hands on deck, no one can do it alone. In December, the ASEAN Foundation renewed the memorandum of understanding with Huawei on the Seeds the Future program.
Yes.
What are your future ambitions when you deal with a company like Huawei?
You know, in Southeast Asia, 60% of our people are younger than 35 years old. And 34% of 680 million populations are the youth. Hence, we are talking about the demographic dividends. We are talking about that if we invest more in these youth, especially empower them on this 21st century's in-demand skill set. Among one of that is, of course, the digital skill. Among one of that, we are talking about the how to be the peoples that knows how to contribute something back to the public, to the societies. Among one of that, we are talking about the sense of empathy. Hence, no worries, if we can build these people, AI cannot defeat, they cannot compete with us, okay? And we would like very much to to work with Huawei, not only to just equip them with a digital skill, which is also very, very important, but mingle peoples together and equip them with this soft skill. The sense of empathy, the sense of communities, sense of belonging, appreciate the diversities of the people. This is the thing that we take it into the project, more like a hidden agenda, but this hidden agenda is very, very important. And of course, make them feel proud to be ASEAN. Make them feel proud to be, to be a good friends with not only other countries, but to the private sectors like Huawei. This is the thing that we need, because we know that the digital skill set, the content, the program, the financial support from Huawei, it's best of the class already. But with the ASEAN foundations, we would like to add more of this high quality program to make sure that we will help build the better ASEAN younger generations. So that's what we would like very much to make it happen by signing the MOU with Huawei for 2024 and 2025, and hopefully very much this MOU will not fruitful to only the seed for the futures, but we also talking about how about we go back and equip, empower the government officers who work in the government office that work related to ASEAN to know more about digitalization. This is the thing that older generations, middle-aged people like me, like my colleagues who work in ASEAN Secretariat Office, who work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also need these kinds as well. And of course, for the staff of ASEAN Foundation itself, we have only 25 staff. And we also need to empowering our people with this new skill set in order to allow them to facilitate our partnership with Huawei at the more advanced stage. So last but not the least, in closing, I expect at least 50 subscribe, like, and share throughout. Oh, thank you very much. Only 49 to go. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatsoever. The keyword is ASEAN Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know if everyone's picked up the key message in Pitty's speeches here, but please subscribe, please log on. We are well over our time, but I am conscious I do want to ask one more question for Lilian, because you haven't had a chance to come back in, which is just briefly, how does the Mexican Ministry of Education tackle something that Zilpha was talking about, this issue of underserved areas, rural areas? How does it ensure that same equitable access to connectivity, in all areas?
Well, we're working on that. It's a very difficult issue because geography is not on our side. In some spaces, there's huge mountains. What we do is we connect one place and bring students to the place, and well, we have different strategies. We're working a lot with, and Huawei is working also to foster the connectivity through light, through electrical system. And for example, in our university, we have 80% of our students are from urban cities and only 20% are from very rural places. I want to tell you, everybody, that open distance education, open distance universities are excellent ways to re-skill and continue learning for long life learning, because we are flexible, because we give time and this for students and diversity of programs that helps a lot. So please go to your open distance university in town and partnership with them, because they're really strong allies. And what do? We have different models on how to approach the digital gap. And we're very happy to work with Huawei too, and to foster more collaborations. Mainly now we want to work on social digital entrepreneurship, like we've heard some of here, and work with our teachers. That's our main goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just a round of applause for all our guests in terms of that global perspective. Thank you.
Okay, what a great discussion, and I also always love it to see representatives of different countries speaking about various topics, because even though we have different backgrounds, in the end, vision unites, so thank you also from my side. And let's move to the next topic. So, Huawei does not only invest into digital skills trainings and young talents, but also in entrepreneurs and their startups. And as we know, startups help drive a vibrant and competitive economic environment, and with the right backing, a creative idea can become an enriching reality. So, to shine a light on that topic, I would like to invite Xiaolei Duan, the director of Huawei Cloud's global startup ecosystem, and her guests to the stage. But before so, we'll have a little introduction video. Maria.
Just watched a short video clip introducing the Huawei Cloud Startup Program. I am responsible for running this program globally. Please allow me to add a few words on that. By now, we have already launched this program in China, the Asia-Pacific area, in the Middle East, North Africa, and of course, Europe. We work with a wide ecosystem of partners, including governmental officials, venture investors, media, etc., to consolidate our resources to empower startups. By now, during the last 2 years, we've already empowered over 3,000 startups from across the world. Many of the startup founders are young talents as the seeders in this room today with us. And the benefits the startups can receive from our program range from free cloud credits, dedicated technical support, talent development and executive training programs, PR resources like co-selling, joint solution, etc., and other go-to-market resources. Today, I'm very honored to be joined by two entrepreneurs who both participated in the acceleration camp we organized last year in Spain. May I invite our two panelists to introduce to the audience who they are, what they do, and why you embarked on that journey? Please, maybe we go first with Fernando.
Okay. Hello. Working? Yep. Can you hear me? No. Somebody else? Okay. We'll shoot. Don't worry. Yes, thank you for this opportunity, Huawei, to let us participate here. Very briefly, what we do. I'm young at heart, probably not in age, as she said, but we are passionate about the things that we do. We are a company that is focused on media and advertisements, and we think that we are here to make a disruption in the existing television business. What we do is basically realize that the distribution of video is coming through IP. It's a streaming video, what we have in. And the advertisement that used to be paying for the TV broadcasters until now is moving into programmatic, dynamic, real-time advertisement. So if you combine the two things, the disruption is here. It's obvious, and it's happening almost in every country of the world. This is what we are right now doing, leveraging in Huawei infrastructure to have these real-time possibilities and expand globally.
Mr. Santos? It's working?
This one is. Hello, everyone. My name is Gustavo. I am the CPO of Uctena. I'm one of the co-founders of Uctena. We work with AI. Everyone works with AI in these days, right? But we have this crazy dream in that we could use a machine, because we would use artificial intelligence to learn how to do things. And after it learns, it could make this more accessible, make this easier to understand for a person, for people. And then we could make this machine teach us how to do things. So our solution right now, what is we capable to do, we are experimenting with the industrial sector, so we can learn how the workers do these jobs and convert this in a simple step by step, and then we can teach new workers or teach someone that needs to do that job on the fly. So it's more than teach, it's way more than teach. We can just be productive from the first day, the first hour in your job, right? So this is Uctena.
Cool. Both of your businesses are AI-driven. During the last 1 or 2 years, we witnessed tremendous breakthroughs of the AI technologies. I think we've already firmed our conviction on AGI. We also developed many diverse use cases of generative AI. Could I invite you to share with the audience, in your mind, in 3 to 5 years, what the world would look like affected by the advancement of AI technologies?
Try again. No? Not sure. We'll share. Yeah, so I can tell you that right now we are using AI. So let me describe what we are doing right now and what we think it's going to be the future. But so AI is closer to our realities than what we think. In our case, what we are using AI for is basically preparing to adapt content to be shared much more widely. Do you know how many languages are spoken in the world? I've just checked it before coming here. More than 7,000 different languages are in the world. So AI is now able to do automatic translation, not only for subtitling, but also for dubbing. So it's now, there are technology out there, there are other startups that we are working with, being able to dub content in any language. So there should be no barriers very soon to just distribute any content, any piece of information across the world. We are testing that. Second use case that is very, very convenient is also generating very quickly supporting material for news or other elements to just be ready, up to date with the latest information that is happening around. Third, even writing scripts. We know that there are some companies already preparing content and adapting in real time the scripts for a TV series if needed. So all of this is happening right now. If I fast forward a little bit, we may see, as we are combining delivery of video with advertisement, that you could get a personalized real-time advertising for you, different to me, different to him, just because we know a little bit that you prefer this kind of, imagine that you're watching a car advertisement and we know that you are in your city. So in real time, and we've seen also some ideas from Huawei cloud technology, we could be putting that car running in your city so that you get familiar, you see yourself driving that car in your city where you belong. These things are happening right now, so the combination of targeting shouldn't be taking this as a bad sign, but rather as a more useful sign. So we all accept advertisement if it's proper, if it's meaningful, and if it's not invasive or repetitive. With things like this, I think this can be a good opportunity for the new way of enjoying television.
I see. You know, with advancement of AI technologies, we saw the birth of either ChatGPT-4 or Sora, which was unveiled very recently, and other large models all entailed very large amounts of investments. So my question is, startups may not like the tech giants who possess like high intensity of top-tier talents. They also have sufficient budget for the high-performance computing as well as available like data for training. So how could we, as a startup, keep competitive in the AI age? I mean, this question is for Fernando.
Fernando? Or, well, I like him. I'll take this, you take the next two. So the good thing here about the cloud infrastructure and AI is that this is democratizing the access. So the way AI is being developed, right now you have models that you can download and use yourself if you want within your own closed environment, or you can use a cloud service provider like Huawei to test it. So I don't think that there are any barriers if you count with a company that supports you, like what Huawei is investing right now in AI. So it gives us access to large storage capacity, computing power, so that you can run models and train your system. So if we were perhaps 10 years ago when cloud was not as established as it is, right now, no company in the world can think about launching a service without thinking about cloud. Even if you're a startup, I mean, the prices, the competitiveness, the expanded reach that you can have on day one, you can find partners and launch your service in regions that you never thought about it. You can go to Middle East, from Asia Pacific, Indonesia, or South America. So I see we are using models for AI without any hassle right now, so because we count on partners.
Very impressive, very impressive. Actually, I agree with you that actually the big giants and the startups may have different roles to play. Like Huawei Cloud have already developed the large models as well as high-performance computing chips, and we made that available on the cloud. Then startups can take advantage of those AI infrastructure to build their most innovative applications to diverse those use cases. They do not need to reinvent wheels. And Mr. Santos, I know that many of your customers actually use your AI tool to train their staff members. Can you use your most bold imagination, tell us what the job market would look like in the next couple of years, and what can we do to help those people who are afraid of losing their jobs to AI get prepared in the AI age?
Right. First of all, I cannot predict what will happen. I believe that no one can, really. No one that can ever predict what will happen with AI in the next couple of years, but it will be awesome. It will be really awesome. Because for now, for example, if you need, right now, new jobs are appearing all the time. So we have this, anyone that works with AI. So this is a new kind of job, right? I work with AI. I have to train these machines. I have to train these bots. I have to train this software to do something. So it's awesome. In that perspective, you can grow. You can go anywhere because you can work with AI. But there is a lot of jobs inside of this because you have AIs for drawing, AIs for movies, AIs for translation. So more jobs for everyone. Behind that, you have the infrastructure that you need to work. So there is more jobs in there too. There is a supply of jobs right now that's already appearing, and new jobs that will come in the next years that we are even close to know what they can do. So for the new generations, for the people that like to learn, for people that like to study, so there is a lot to do, right? And what we can do to not be suppressed by that, right? Just use the tool. It's simple like that. Yeah, there is a lot of talk, oh, AI will be the end of us, AI will be the problem of the humanity. You know that's not real. We can use it as a tool. You can use it as a tool, as any other tool that arrive in our history, and you can just make this work for us way better. It's way better if you choose your path, right? If you, oh, I want to work with that, I want to implement that. Just go look around and see what an AI tool can do for you. And there is office jobs and practical jobs that you can use right now, and that will be guaranteed that will be way better in this new world.
So you mean?
Yeah, something.
Sure.
Because I think I like what he's saying. Probably AI to all of us is like the fastest revolution that we've ever seen. So we know about what the telephone line meant, what the fiber connection meant, what the social networks, internet meant, the search engines. But right now, this is happening that fast because it thinks that you can talk in your same language to something that is generating a task that it would take us hours for you to do it. And we were never expecting something that quick with such an impact. My recommendation for all of us is the ones who think that this is going to make me lose my job are the ones that should be starting to use it the first, to be more creative, to be prepared for what is coming next, and use that as a tool, as he was saying. Use this as a tool, and you will be fast forward to a different level that you never thought that you could be achieving. That's what is happening. It's frightening also to all of us. I fight against my own diary to find some time to test and find new tools to check, because I know that if I'm not doing that, I will be outdated. So this is an attitude that we have to push up ourselves.
Attitude is very important. I think we are all optimists, and it's very normal for people to be worried about the uncertainty in futures, right? But the key point is to open your arms to embrace the future and to get prepared, be equipped by the AI equipments, AI tools, and the startups here like you have been contributing to make the AI tools available to the average people. When talking about the even growing, even faster developing technology and innovation, I think it's critical for us to think about technology democracy. For those living in the rural area, for those underprivileged people, how can we ensure that they can also equally benefit from this technology development?
Yeah, this is something that's very important for us, right? Democracy in AI use. Actually, AI is a child of all humanity, right? There is not one single person it's the owner of AI. Sam Altman is not the owner of OpenAI, there is engineers right now that know more about that AI than Sam Altman, and that's the thing. And everyone is part of that. It's part of the training, or it's part of the knowledge base, or it's part of the engineering, the people that are creating the graphics cards and things like that. So think about that. If you can work if it's something that we can work together, there is no issue in here. We can just make the better for us using AI tools.
Yes, I would say, trying to repeat what I said, first is a personal attitude, because even schools, universities are not able to cope with this speed of development. So this is something that it has to come from each of us, because this technology is not something that you heard. It's something that you can try immediately if you go to that website, you download that app. So it's a question of being challenging yourself. So that's the first. And the second, we all together as an industry, we have to perhaps reduce the learning curve of this. And I think right now the language by which you interact with an AI is your natural language. So I mean, you don't need to learn Python or no, it's your own language. So go and test it. Go and test it, and don't wait somebody to teach you about that. And this is accessible to everybody anywhere in the world. Whether you live in South Asia, South America, or the North Pole, it's there, and everybody can use it. And it's, of course, it's perhaps not yet ready in all of the languages, so you may need to learn a little bit of English or Spanish or Russian or Chinese to test it. But go and test it, because I think it's being born democratized. Of course, there's a small fee if you want to use some of the latest model by OpenAI or others, but even those fees are ridiculous. I mean, it might be $5 and you can train for a month. So this is why I'm saying it's more attitude and forgetting about your fears, because you can use it almost for anything.
Yeah, there is one other thing about this democratization, and we are in this together. Even the big tech companies are helping a lot, because we need this infrastructure, right? It's not something that I can run on my computer at home. So Huawei, for example, it has data centers and people. I know that I use a lot of the help of the technicians in Huawei to implement our AI. We cannot do it. We cannot do it alone. So just this working together to implement something. For me, it's a product. I have to sell this for a lot of companies. For Huawei, it had to sell me the service. For other people, for the companies that I serve, they need this to make they work better with their employees and perform their jobs. So this is the best thing that you can reach as democratization goes, right? Is knowledge that is shared for everyone in the chain. And it works. It really works. It's the first. I believe that's the first time in humanity that you have this kind of Chinese company, American company, a Spanish company, and something work together for a tool that works.
Joint effort.
Yep.
Okay, like Fernando just mentioned that, I mean, during the last 10 or 15 years, we've always chose to study computer science, to master programming skills. But now, as you mentioned, the interaction between machines and human beings could be conducted in natural language, in human language. Then, before we wrap up, could you advise, especially the youngsters here, what they should learn to prepare them for the AI age, to make sure that we are relevant in the new era?
I would say two things. First, you have to go back to what we are. We are human beings. We are creative animals. So the things that are perhaps becoming more mechanical in a daily basis, the things like playing with Excel files and things like that, perhaps this is where AI will start helping you, and you have to imagine where you could be doing other things that right now you don't have the time of doing. I question that myself every day when I open Excel and say, should I be doing this? Or isn't there any AI that can help me? And we start using Copilot a lot from Microsoft, for instance, there. So the basic tools will be available for everybody. And this is also what Gustavo was saying. There are a lot of companies, big companies already making this as a basic standard usage of AI in a very seamless way. So I suggest that any of you, it's not a question of what you study, but actually how you could use AI to drive your potential. If you like being a doctor or a scientist or a mathematics teacher, use AI in a way that empowers you to do things that you never did. Prepare different materials, run experiments much faster. AI is there for you. And you can train even your own AI by playing with some of these tools on your own part of your work. So I don't see that there's anybody teaching AI at universities. You have masters, you have online courses for doing that, but I think everybody can start using by themselves.
Yeah, one of the things be curious. Really. You need this human curiosity to do things, to discover things. It helps us get in here, and we can go way beyond that if you're just curious, right? And right now we have this amazing tool that you can ask things for it and use the knowledge base of our human race to answer you. And we are about to create a being, right? AI will be a new being in a world, in a child of our humanity, that can really answer some questions really fast, think about it really fast. So the moment that you start to ask questions, the moment that we start to be curious about how things work, and you are already prepared to work with AI. Right, it's the mind of a child, right? We have to be curious all the time, be outside of your comfort zone, but this time there is no danger, no risk at all. You just need really to ask, hey, what I like to do, what I want to do, what I always wanted to do, and that now is available for me. Because I have AI, that's the ultimate tool, right? Before I need to learn Photoshop to draw in the computer. Now I can just ask for a drawing, but the AI will not create the drawing itself. You need to ask for it. What you want to see? What art you want to do? What insights do you have in an Excel table or in data that you are gathering from your companies, for your jobs, for your friends? What can you have in there? So curiosity is your best tool to the future.
So no matter how the world changes, the advice to the audience, especially the younger generations, is always be curious, be open-minded, and keep learning. I mean, AI are the tools that we can use to make our goals be achieved. Finally, I want to thank our two panelists for generously sharing your ideas and your thoughts. I also want to extend my gratitude to the audience. Thanks for your attention. Last but not least, I think it's very important to let you know that everyone in the audience and the people who are watching online, if you plan to be an entrepreneur in the near future, please do come to us. Because in addition to the Seeds for the Future program, we also have Huawei Cloud Startup program that can help you unleash your creativity and to help build a shared future for all in the AI age. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks to Xiaolei and to Gustavo and Fernando. We're creative animals, I wrote down. We're in this together. And in Gustavo's great words, the future's going to be awesome, which is a pretty good summary. So as he said, just be curious. Great to hear those insights and that positivity from people who really are success stories. And I talked earlier on about Maria being a success story, winning awards through the Digital Seeds of the Future program, and with news of more awards about that and the picture for Seeds in the year to come, I'll just pass over to the Vice President of Huawei's Corporate Communications Department, Vicky Zhang.
Dear friend, old and new, I'm so glad to see here again. This is our second year of our Huawei Global Talent Summit at Mobile World Congress. And I'm so excited to hear a lot of talent projects were introduced today by all of you. So my dear friend Isabella from UNESCO and also Mario from ITU, their speech have showed us how we can proceed towards a better future. And also our friends from government agencies, universities, and startups, you share your experience and also your project on talent cultivation and also your advice to us, to young people and all of us in this AI age, very useful. And so all of you are mentors today, and your wisdom are truly priceless. Thank you. So last year, I stood here to also kick off this summit and announce some of our amazing project of Huawei. This year, I will not tell the details, but I would like to see there's very good progress of all the program. And also, because of the collected efforts, our Seeds for the Future talent program already benefit 2.83 million people over 150 countries. And of course, we will continue our journey with all the partners. And today, I also want to say something different, not project. Today, we have 38 young leaders from different countries. They are the participants of our Seeds for the Future programs. And this is also the second year we invite them to Mobile World Congress. And last year, we also invite these young leaders to Huawei Connect event in China and also the COP28 in Dubai. Why we do that? Because we think be connected is very important. So today, we are in a world that's evolving at a starting pace. As you just mentioned, yeah, at the development of ChatGPT, of AI, wow, it's celebrating the digital transformation of the whole world, and all the industry and our lives are changing in every second. So there's a lot of adaptations and learnings to do. So as a young people, study alone is very important. But when you adapt the challenge to reach out and also to get connection to the resources will be very useful. So that's why Huawei Seeds for the Future and all the projects we introduced today, that's what we are doing, to provide a platform for you to make connections. So after, as I mentioned, for example, the Seeds tour, and also as Dr. mentioned, the programs in ASEAN happened. So yeah, so we encourage people to connect with each other, connect with the world, to know the opportunity and the challenges, and learn from each other, learn from the mentors. Also, from this project to make practice to solve the local community's problems. But after learning and also practice of the project, what's the next step? I recommend you to considering to be a role star, to be a role model at your community. It's not, when you talk about role model, maybe we will think about the Nobel Prize winners. Yeah, most of us are not that level. But yes, we can be a role model. A role model is not just at high level, but to show the potential. The world needs to hear diverse voice, and also the world needs to see more diverse heroes. Even though you just show, for example, a girl just choose the infographic as her career, or in the video shows a boy from a village grew up as a computer engineer, or as we mentioned, nowadays there are a lot of new jobs creative, so someone might became a social media manager or an AI application developer. All this will show the potential to your peers. Will be more people think about, oh, maybe I can also do that. That's a thing we encourage you to be. So lovely young leaders, we gather you here at Seeds for the Future program is in hope of encourage you to come forward and stand on stage to spread your voice. And also, we can make good possibilities happen for more others. So that's the most thing I want to say. And please come and use the platform, use the resources and services we provided to you. Stay connected and be role models to others. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Vicky. Yes, you stay here, please. Yes, as you've hinted a little bit in your speech, indeed, there are a lot of projects that have been going on in the past few months, and we are very delighted to actually have a Seeds Award ceremony now. For the winners of the Tech for Good global competition, they traveled a long distance to here, and we're happy to provide them with the certificates in person. Please, from Namibia, the winning Seeds team, Yeni AI, come to stage. Again. Congratulations, indeed. So yeah, I would say before we have our picture also, how about you tell us what you have been doing? Where's the microphone? Yes, thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Vitalis. I'm the CEO. My teammates, computer science, teachers, law students, and communication students. Yeni AI, it's an AI startup using particularly large language models. I think most of you have used ChatGPT, so the underlying technology there. So we use large language models to allow human teachers to prepare lessons on Yeni AI by uploading a lesson plan from any curriculum. And then Yeni AI will deliver the lesson to all the learners on their devices during the 45-minute lesson when they are receiving that class. Now you do that for two reasons: to solve the 2 sigma problem, which is learners who receive one-on-one tutoring perform 98% better than learners who receive group instruction. So now the AI will be the teacher to deliver the lesson personalized one-on-one to every learner. And that allows us to move learners to the 98th percentile.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. And I would say, yeah, let's have the picture now. So thank you very much again and congratulations. Continuing on what we have seen by this team, we would like to ensure further that more people learn and develop their digital skills. And on that note, I would like to welcome Jiang Jing, the Senior Manager of Huawei ICT Talent Partner Development, to the stage.
Distinguished guests, our young students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great honor for me during MWC in Barcelona to share Huawei ICT Talent Development Project with you guys. So today my topic is I See the Future. Actually, this is slogan of one of our ICT talent program, We call it ICT competition. And I hope all our students, more and more our students can join this ICT competition and subscribe it. By the way, the 8th Huawei ICT competition global final will be happen in end of May in Shenzhen. Welcome to join it. Okay, let's go to my key presentation. So from Huawei point of view, in order to facilitate the supply and the training of ICT talent and improve the efficiency of using ICT skills, Huawei has proposed the ICT talent development consent. It is the driven ICT industry success by the twin turbo of ICT talent training and ICT talent transformation. We propose integrating the demand of the talent from industry changes into all aspects of ICT talent training, cultivate high qualified cross-domain ICT talents among teachers, students, industry practitioners, and lifelong learners, so as to boost the enterprise innovation and promote the industry construction. Under this concept, Huawei launched ICT Academy program 11 years ago, and today, 2,700 universities and colleges joined this program, and more than 250,000 students got training every year. And in order to support the UNESCO SDG 4 target achievement, Huawei ICT Academy as one of the key partners project under the UNESCO Global Skills Academy, actively promoting the cutting-edge ICT courses to our students. The most popular courses are data communication, AI, cloud service, and other emerging ICT technologies. How to make sure all our students can quickly, easily get the access to all the learning materials. Huawei have built one-step open learning platform, Huawei Talent Online. It can provide the courses, teaching materials covering 27 technical directions and 3 levels of Huawei professional certifications. The courses and teaching materials are jointly developed by university teachers, Huawei experts, and other stakeholders. The English version of Huawei ICT Academy textbook have been released by publishing house Springer using open access model together with Huawei. Since its release in early 2023, it has been downloaded more than 600,000 times. In order to let the instructors and students of Huawei ICT Academy to better show their teaching or learning achievement, we have designed the Huawei ICT Academy digital badges. They are instructor badges, professional course badges, and the general course badges. The instructor badge can show the teaching year of the instructor in ICT Academy, ranging from 1 year up to 20 years. Course learning badge can show the result of the student completed courses, which could bring the potential opportunity to the job. Now, 19 courses in 7 languages are available already. If you were the instructor of Huawei ICT Academy or student, please start to earn your own digital badge and share it in your social media. Thank you very much for your attention. For more details, let's watch the video.
Huawei ICT Academy has designed badges for students and instructors to demonstrate their achievements. Student badges consist of professional and general course badges. Students can register for courses on the platform and obtain badges for completing them. A teacher must be certified as an instructor of a Huawei ICT Academy and have taught classes before obtaining an instructor badge, which denotes the number of years they have taught at a Huawei ICT Academy. When students and teachers meet the conditions for badges, the system will send an activation email to their personal mailboxes. The recipients can click the link sent to their inbox, or log in to the Huawei Talent platform to activate and obtain their digital badges. After receipt, students can share the badges on various social platforms to showcase their competitiveness, attract like-minded partners, expand employment domains, and maximize their exposure. They can also include these digital badges on their personal CV, portfolio, email signature, website, and more. In this way, they can enhance their personal brand and showcase their achievements to potential employers, which opens the door to more opportunities. Teachers can also share their badges on social platforms as a tribute to their career milestones with Huawei ICT Academies.
Our thanks to Mr. Jiang. So as well as subscribing to the ASEAN Foundation, you can now try and get your digital badge as well. There's a lot to do off the back of this meeting. Now at this point, I just want to invite Vicky back up to the stage and also ask Ahmed Aziz Attia, the Global Ambassador of Seeds to the Future 2023, to come up. Gang Sun, the Director of Huawei's ICT Talent Partner Development Program. And finally, Professor Raini Wirahadikasuma, the Rector of the Institute Technology Bandung in Indonesia. If all four of you could just come up to the stage. Thanks very much for joining us on stage. At this point, we're just going to make the launch of the ICT badge, inverted commas, official, as it were. So behind me, seamlessly, at any second, a video is going to play. But while it doesn't, I'm going to play for time and talk about how tremendous the ICT Academy is. What we're going to do is, at some point, very soon, little handprint shapes will appear on the screen. And when it does, we'll start the official countdown. And you can put your hand on the handprint, which is coming up roughly now. Saved. And this will launch it officially. I think I'm as relieved as anyone that the video came up. So we've just took the official photos. It's just to mark the official launch of it. Thank you very much, all of you. Your work here is done. Thank you. Thanks very much for that. It's now just time for the final panel discussion. And this is on, well, it's actually done and led by someone who really has dedicated her professional career to the advancement of talent development, and particularly on the place of women in leadership. That is Berta Herrera Estelayo, my colleague. She's Huawei Europe's Head of Diversity, Inclusion and Equity. Berta, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much. My God, that was a little bit cold. Guys, we're in Spain, okay? We're a bit more festive and a little bit more. I'm so happy to see so many of you here today, and of course to see our students from the European Leadership Academy as well, which what can I tell you? But among all the Huawei programs is the most close to my heart. Vicky knows that as well. She was there with us at the Women's Academy for Rural Innovation 2 years ago. So it's fantastic to see how many things our company Huawei is doing in terms of talents. I'm doing we are gonna have here today a panel, our usual panel, and I say usual with pride because we always have a women leaders roundtable at all the events we do in Europe, and that's fantastic because it means that we have a lot of female talent and we want to show it as well, to make it known to the world that this is not just a males-dominated industry, it's actually an industry that welcomes everyone as long as you have a passion for it, as we say in Huawei, talent unlocks potential. So I'm going to introduce you my fellow panelists, which I hope that they will join me on stage. They are all spread in the room, so it's going to be exciting to see which way they are gonna come through. First, of course, my dear friend, inspiring woman among all the inspiring women I know. She's our dear Mary Coughlin, former Deputy Prime Minister of Ireland. Please welcome her on stage. Mary, please. Followed by Mary, we also have Maria Paula Caicedo, another dear friend, and she is very happy to be living in Barcelona. She's head of Innovation Hub South at ICT Urban Mobility. And as I said, what a beautiful thing to be able to live in Barcelona. Eh? Then we also have Sarah Toms. She's the Chief Learning Innovation Officer at IMD, and Sarah is here with us as well. And our fourth panelist of the day is also coming from the European Women in VC Venture Capital. You see the name on the screen, Kinga, but I am sad to tell you that Kinga couldn't make it. She's still in Warsaw, but we have here fantastic Kasia Piaczewski, who is working with her. She's the managing director. Please, Kasia. Oh, that was a big step. Please, please go ahead. Sit at also European Women in VC. So that was fantastic. You see, we women always have solutions for everything. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was fantastic. So Kasia, welcome, Mary, Maria Paula, and Sarah. We have a very diverse pool of talent here, and that was actually going to be my first question. Mary and Maria Paula, they have been with us many times, I have to say, in the European Leadership Academy and here at MWC, so they are old friends. And with Maria Paula, we are many times talking about this, right? About this kind of situation that you many times face, and I think that many of you might have faced it as well. And it's like, why didn't you promote, you know, a woman to be the next CEO of your company or to take a leading position? And they say, well, simply there were not so many women who were up to the job, right? They were not enough skilled or whatever. So we can say that this is the blame the talent pipeline excuse, right? Just not enough qualified women. But Maria Paula, I know that that's very concerning for you, and actually you wanted to talk about that today. So please open the floor with your views on this excuse.
Well, first of all, good afternoon. Thank you, Berta and Huawei, for the invitation, and I'm honored to be part of this distinguished panel. And thank you all for being here. Yes, I remember a couple of years ago, I was working in a big corporation in a male-dominated industry, and most of the discussions about the low percentage of female senior executives ended with, that's what the talent pipeline provides. We don't have enough robust female candidates. And maybe it was true, but then if we're responsible leaders, then we're expected to dig deeper into the root causes of this situation rather than just tackling the consequences. And then maybe we can start solving the problem. So this also applies to entrepreneurship. Let's use the 5 whys approach from the problem-solving methodology. Why we don't have enough female talented entrepreneurs? Well, because still today we have an investor ecosystem that has a one-size-fits-them-all approach, maybe looking for a traditional profile with a set of traits and skill set that consciously or unconsciously is very close to what traditional men offer, which makes it more difficult for women, more riskier to take the chance. So why this risk aversion is a problem? Well, because it's difficult for a woman who is leading childcare to start a business. Why are women leading childcare? Well, still today, there is a lot of inequality on the amount of time spent by women to childcare and household activities. In average, women spend more than 3 hours more than men dedicated to these tasks in average in Europe. Norway is the most equitative of them all, with 45 minutes more women than men. That's still a lot. An hour is still a lot. So Why we have this inequality? Well, because this starts at school. There are still biases. We're expected to behave differently. And I could go on for ages and centuries to the origins of inequality. But for me, the important thing of this is there's bias everywhere, on the entrepreneurs, on the investors, on the context of the people taking the decision to take the risk and set up a company. And only by tackling all fronts, we will be able to solve this. Gender balance is not about men and women being equal. I think we all know that by now, hopefully. We are different. We complement each other. Women can't be expected to behave like men in order to get equal opportunities. I remember an example. There's a research that says that consciously or unconsciously, investor committees ask different questions depending on the gender. So a woman may be asked preventative questions like, what could go wrong in your project? While a man will get progressive questions. So how far can you go with your company? So of course, women have to work more to get to the same level, which is unfair competition. And these plus other biases can be seen in the results of the startup ecosystem in Europe and of course across the world. Only 15% of technological startups are funded by women. And if we talk about the funds that the startups receive here in Europe, 5% are invested in mixed funding teams. Only 2% go to all women teams. If a woman goes to an investor committee, 85% of the times that committee will be made by all men. And among Europe investors, only 12% are women. So of course, we also need balance on those who write the checks. So as I said, this is just to show you that we have to, it's a 360 approach.
I love that you emphasized old men. Like,
no, I didn't say old, I say all. It wasn't old.
Good
it
to
was
clarify. So men of all ages.
But maybe.
But Maria Paula, it was very remarkable what you were saying, because then maybe the excuse is simply that you are keeping women out. That's also what is happening. There are some mechanisms designed to maybe bring on board men that can bring companies forward and so on and so forth. But as we will see throughout this panel, that's another myth. You said it very well. Women cannot be expected to behave like men, because also men cannot be expected to behave like women. We are diverse, and that's exactly what makes us stronger. So Mary, on to you now. You know, now we talk a lot about female leadership, especially ourselves, maybe for 3-4 years now, we are really strong in this topic, and I'm of course very proud that we are a leading company in this field. But you know, I think this wasn't always cool. It wasn't always the thing. It wasn't always what everyone talked about. You've been in politics before, and actually at one of the highest levels you can possibly achieve. And how did you see this change? Like when female leadership became a thing, what do you think was a trigger for corporates and institutions to embrace this topic?
I would say legislation was one of those, and we in Europe would be very lucky in that equality was very much to the forefront of the European Union. So I think the legislative framework was hugely important. I also believe from the commercial perspective, companies saw that if they didn't do something fairly quickly in the boardroom or wherever, they were going to lose 50% of the population. And I think also the necessity of positive discrimination, which was also through legislation. But this is a world audience that we're here now enjoying, and we're all very lucky women. We've all had an opportunity to be educated, and I think the theme today has been very much that the basis of all the economic activity in the world is based in education. And there are lots of women who are not being afforded that opportunity. And that, I think, whether we talk about equality, we talk about anything, at the end of the day, access to education is hugely, hugely important. And without it, we're not going to create any equality within the world. But from From my perspective, I was the first woman to be elected in my county. I was the first woman in my party to be elected Deputy Prime Minister. I was the first woman Minister for Agriculture. And we talk about trailblazing and we talk about role models, but it's a real pity that that is continuing to be the case and that we don't have that 50% representation at political level, and that we don't have more people taking the roles that I had. And I suppose we'd like to see other achievements, and the Talent Academy is here to give the wherewithal and the support to allow that to happen and to break that glass ceiling. And you're not going to do it without the help of men. You certainly will not. That's the reality. So we have to put ourselves forward on the basis that we have a capacity that is different, yes, but that we have something to add to society. And if we do that at all levels, economic, political, whatever, then we will achieve what we would like to achieve, which is that 50% representation.
It's very important what you say, Marianne, that you're speaking from your heart, and really especially for the young women joining us today, that they know what is lying ahead. But before we move on to the next stage of the panel, may I actually ask you, I think this is a question that I never asked you before, but so sorry, it was not in the plan. But who was your role model? I mean, who like gave you the idea that it was possible to achieve what you achieved?
I would say in my home, it was my mother. Because she ran the household and she was the boss, really. My father didn't realize that, but she was the boss. And there would have been many women in political life. You wouldn't have known who this person is. Her name was Countess Markovich. And she would have been involved in the 1916 Rising, where we removed the British. Very sorry, Gavin. We removed the British. And she was the very first woman. She was a soldier, and she was the very first woman to have been appointed as a minister in the first government. And she was there, unfortunately, for 50 years before another woman was appointed. But she was somebody that I very much admired. She was a constitutional nationalist and a very young woman. And she did so much for so many people. And once she left political life, she went to help those who were in poverty. And, you know, somebody like that was a role model that I very much admired.
So Mary, thanks for letting us know, and all our respect and admiration go to that soldier. And I'm sure that many people are now going to Google it to learn the story and what inspired you. It's true that we can all learn from each other in the end, and we can learn from people who lived in different times and who engaged in different activities. From as you said, from more fighting in the battlefield, right, actually, to what we are more doing, let's say, from the boardroom to just tech companies. And Kasia, let me get to you on that. I know that you've been running to get to this panel, so we really appreciate your effort that you could make it. And we actually wanted to discuss with you, because you're leading in venture capital, and that's very important, you know, because venture capital also determines which projects are going to succeed in the future, how our future is going to look like. Now, we know that, of course, for our society to grow sustainably, these funds that many times are in your hands have to reach out diverse communities, diverse profiles. They cannot all go, as Maria Paula was saying, to male-led companies. They should also benefit women, make sure that they have the opportunities they deserve, as well as minorities. So what's your take on that? How is it different? What specific role are women in venture capital having to make this possible?
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm here on behalf of European Women in VC, representing or backing Kinga, who had to take emergency board meeting. But coming back to your question, yes. So my background before I became a business angel and joined European Women in VC is entrepreneur. So I started my career in investment banking, in M&As, really male-dominated environment, and then I had a very feminine idea out of this male-dominated environment, I would like to invent or run a fashion brand based on high-tech fabrics, because I thought this is what is on the market is super uncomfortable and not suitable for this very diverse lifestyle.
Yes, please, yes. You make it just more comfortable as a whole.
Enbo.com, you can have a look. So this was the idea, and it was like very true solution for women. I also observed 10 years ago that there is this, emerging woman in business. So I thought this is a good idea. And I remember in my early days a very nasty pinch. I was pinched on hand here as I was pitching the product and the idea to one of the VC investors. And he asked me, oh my God, how many of these blouses do you have to sell to be successful? And I was like, oh my God, it is so humiliating. That I want to disappear. And and I remember this pinch very well. And I think, fashion is, we can live without this solution, right? But there are many solutions, many ideas, many problems which are addressed by women, because women, usually business ideas come from experiences, right? And men do not have their periods, men do not suffer from endometriosis, and this is very hard to pitch those problems, those ideas to the board of free men, right? So
old men, as Maria Paula didn't say, as Maria Paula.
Not say old.
It is. I think that men play in this revolution or in this change a very important role. What we see, and there is research on that men who have daughter are like, they have a different type of consciousness, but we have to also embrace men into this fight and make them realize that if we want to have solutions for global problems, we have to take into account also these female ideas, because apart from that we build our ideas on our experiences, we also women have this inclination to have ideas which are not only about financial profit, but also about positive impact and change. So that is why this is the role of the female or mixed teams on the committee boards, to be able to listen. And as here was also said, the strength of human beings is diversity, and listening to different opinions. Women can and men, they hear different things, right? And this diversity in decision making, this is the strength, and this is how we want to solve the problems.
We fully agree, Cassian. It's very good that you could bring it to the forefront, and you're right. We are good at identifying our problems and bringing solutions to these problems as well. So thank you for sharing that. And I think many people can also identify in the audience with this moment that you shared when you were pinched during your presentation. And how did you say that at that moment for you, that might have been humiliating, but that was also what gave you the strength to move forward and to say, I'm going to change the game. So, I always ask our girls to embrace those moments and be like, those are the moments that made you stronger, that defined you, and that are gonna define your future. And one day you will thank that person, actually. And maybe, who knows, that person will be sitting in the audience hearing
yes,
what you
exactly. But this is also very important to have these role models and to hear the stories and to hear about those challenges and these really bad moments where, I'm okay with sharing this after a few years, right? After this story, after I achieved some success. But at the beginning, I was super shy. I thought, oh my God, my product is shit. I'm shit. And I wouldn't come to the panel and say it, right?
It's very good that you said that. So you see your progression, and this encourages everyone else to also share those stories, because we are all human and we have all been through a
lot. So thank you, Cassia. And I think what you shared is going to help a lot, many people in this room and beyond. And now on to Sarah. Also, Sarah, as Cassia was saying, we all have a lot of like wow moments that we learn from, whether for the best or for the worst, but ultimately perhaps for the best. We were talking as well with Maria Paula how we can make it more inclusive so that, you know, more diverse talent cohorts can actually reach a stage where they can be appointed to top positions. You're working a lot with education and you're working as well with digital technologies. So how in your daily work are you using these technologies to ensure that a diverse pool of talent gets all the opportunities they need?
Yeah, great question. And again, thank you so much for having me. I think education is now borderless. There is no reason why you necessarily have to go and be next to the expert. We also now have this incredible ability through democratization, but also through technology to rethink the education paradigm. What we've seen over the last 20, 30 years as education has become digitized is we've just been replicating a lot of the old education models. So sage on the stage, blah, blah, blahing you to death. And that's not the way we learn. You know, to your point, we learn through struggle. We learn through practice. We learn through continuous feedback. And so it's really important that when we think about moving into, especially what, you know, I'm looking at, so I'm a serious games expert. I've been building large form games that teach and give entrepreneurs, for example, the opportunity to really go through an entire games-based experience to learn how to be an entrepreneur without making all those mistakes for real. One of the things that me and my team have always been very careful about is making sure in these practice-based experiences that we have female protagonists, that we have representation from the global south, that we're not just replicating, you know, the white male experience, that we're making sure that everybody is seen and that we have even digital role models in those experiences. The second thing, now that we're moving into a Gen AI era, so I lead the AI initiative at IMD. We were the first, I think, in higher education to AI enable our classes. So this means coming out of a class, you can have a conversation with IMD expertise. You can really go into the details based on our research, based on our magazine and everything else, and have a very expert conversation with IMD. This means that we can move to more atomic learning. This means that we can be with you when you need us. We now have AI enabled our entire MBA, EMBA, et cetera, and that means 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when you're looking for those leadership lessons, we're there in your pocket. And I think this is really important for especially women to really be able to go in and say, you know what, I've sort of forgotten this, and let me quickly upskill myself and do it in the flow of work. So all of this is super important. And so just really, really exciting time for us to reimagine and rethink the education paradigm.
There we go. Thank you, Sarah. And you said one very important thing among many others. We learn through struggle. We learn through struggle, and with your point, I'm gonna come back actually to Cassia. Sorry to be like all the time, you know. We need to move a bit faster in the second part of the panel, so let's just get going. We were supposed to talk about gender diversity today a lot, and I think there's not so much point because we all agree on that, right? The need for gender diversity, not just in the ICT industry, but in all fields of life, really. But I wanted to ask you, you know, going back to the anecdotes that are so important, did you ever come across someone who challenged this need, who basically told you, sorry, Cassia, but I don't think we need this, you know, this diversity, it's useless or something? Can you remember any such time, and what did you reply, if so? You could also say no, and that's perfect.
No, but I know the cases. I know that there is a part of this, let's say, male part of the society which doesn't understand this need, which maybe is a little bit afraid of this change. So we know the voices are there, and that's why well, I also heard from a friend of mine where she got promoted, and the promoter told her, you know, you have two advantages in this promotion. You are a female, and you are from Eastern Europe, so diversity. Oh. So, but I think that this is exactly our work, which we want to also do, is to find ways to convince and to showcase that diversity is important. And we have to find a way to convince this part of the population that this is important. And as I said, men who have daughters, that's first step. Second step is also very important to educate on biases. And yes.
You're absolutely right. And I take this opportunity, to let people know that diversity is not just bringing an Eastern European on board or something like that. It's more like actually going to so-called Eastern Europe and being like, let's do something together, right? Let's move forward and let's give opportunities for all. But speaking about that, Maria Paula, we were discussing beforehand as well, not enough funding is reaching women, is reaching female-led startups. And that's really a concern for you as well at EIT. But you're doing a lot of great work on that, I know. And I want you to share with us what is that work that you're doing to break down barriers and to make sure that women have their fair share in the digital transition.
So there are many things that we do at EIT Urban Mobility to drive sustainability in mobility in Europe, but one of them is that we are impact investors. So on the targeting the entrepreneurs, so the first thing is the investment committees. We secure that they are gender balanced, that the questions and the evaluation criteria is the same regardless of the gender, that we can communicate to all entrepreneurs in the same way. Regarding the investment thesis, for example, for us, a mixed funding team is an asset. So if we receive applicants that are all male or all female, they don't get all marks, because this is one thing that I personally always fear may happen, is that then we go to the other side and we're fighting for gender diversity and we end up doing the opposite. So this goes both ways. And then regarding investors, we created a program called Supernovas with different variants, Rocket Up, Women Investor Network, where we fund female funders, we support them, we help them networking with like-minded investors, but we also attract new women to become investors, to tackle the fear or the myth about becoming an investor, and helping them to learn how to invest and to grow, and actually the results speak for themselves. We have a portfolio of startups. We were created more than 4 years ago, and out of the 130 startups that we have, almost half of them, 45% of them, have a woman as co-founder or lead. And then 58% of our investments, or for startups invested that had follow-on investment, were mixed funded team, which shows that they are more performant. So I think that in the end, things are changing. And I know that we're short on time, so I'm going to already tell you what I think is my thought for the
go ahead
for the talk today. And I'm glad, because I've heard it also across all of us, and is gender diversity is not only equal opportunities for everyone, but if we are shaping the future for everyone, finding solutions for everyone, we have to involve everyone in creating and deploying those solutions. And this is not only men and women, but it's also kids. I mean, it's all ages or races, it's everything. So we have to always keep that in mind.
You're absolutely right. Diversity means diversity. It doesn't mean just going to the other side. It just means diversity. So indeed, now off to Mary. Mary, speaking of diversity, you have been Deputy Prime Minister of Ireland, and now it turns out that you're doing a completely different thing, or maybe not so different, you will tell us. But just to let you guys know, Mary is now a champion, a queen in the world of sports in Ireland, which is wow. And I wanted to ask you, how's that experience at the moment, when actually sports like football are becoming so popular among women, and we have, what can I tell you, Spain, for example, winning the World Cup and so on. So how's that going, Mary? How's that going?
Well, just to clarify, I'm not running UEFA now. In Ireland, we have our own national sport, but it's an amateur sport. So I'm the first woman to be elected as chairperson of the executive in my own county, and there's only been 5 other women ever elected. since 1886, so that's fairly new. Women in sport is also an issue that's way out there that there's a huge conversation about. And I would say that if you see what Billie Jean King did in tennis, it has taken a long, long time to get to even having the conversation now. And we are seeing in the professional side of sport that women's sport is now getting more support and is seen to be something that people enjoy even more. And I'd have to say, being biased, of course, that when it comes to certain types of sport, they're often better than the men and more enjoyable. But I'll run away out the backstage now in a minute. But we have a large organisation in Ireland called the GAA, the Gaelic Athletics Association. It's amateur. We have men's football and women's football. We have hurling and camogie. We have rounders and we have handball. And I was at convention at the weekend, and we are now going to amalgamate all of the organisations together to be one GAA. A lot of that is down to the fact that women's sport and women's participation in sport has increased considerably, and something we're all talking about again, it's about everyone being involved, and it's starting with very small children. And it's boys and girls playing together, learning their skill together, and it makes sense. As an amateur organisation, we have to get a lot of sponsorship and a lot of support, and we need a lot of volunteers. And in society now, unfortunately, it's not as easy to get volunteers. So we have to come together. And that's why I was requested to put my name forward. And I said, to hell with it, I'll do it. So that's why I'm the chairperson now. And certainly looking forward, it's going to be a bumpy road, because there's a lot of personalities, but I'm hoping that in the tenure of our now president that we will be able to achieve amalgamation and have a really, really strong organisation which will have equality very much part of the ethos of the organisation.
That's really great, Marianne. It's very inspiring. I know that there are many women here actually that embrace sports as well, and they like it. So it's a word of hope as well. And that's one of the things I love about you, you know, that you embrace all the good causes without asking for anything in return the first moment. So that's cool. I'm happy for Ireland. I'm sure it's going to be a bumpy but amazing, amazing ride. And Sarah, off to you. So we are all talking about kids. Let's talk about kids. No. Let's talk about education actually, and the big thing of the year, right? Generative AI. You are in education, you are working, as you said, you are leading your efforts, your institution's efforts on AI. So what is that, how is that going? I mean, is generative AI this big thing we have all been talking about? Not so much, just a little. And also, what is the unique perspective that women are bringing to generative AI development?
Great questions. So according to the World Economic Forum, June 2023 report, every job is rapidly becoming a tech job. So one of the problems we do have, though, is the number of women in the technology field continues to drop in every single country. And one of the reasons it continues to drop is women are dropping out of the technology field in large numbers. Another reason is so many new jobs are getting created, and the number of new women coming into the tech field is not keeping pace with the number of new tech jobs that are getting created. So myself, I've been in technology since '96. I was a tech entrepreneur for 10 years. I worked in pharma, and then now I was at the Wharton School leading their gaming efforts, and now I'm at IMD. And one of the things I always say to women is, just start, you know, I think we have a problem with glass walls more than glass ceilings, where it looks to a lot of women like it's a field where, you know, programmers are sitting and coding, and they don't get to see through role models just how brilliant, how creative, and how well paid and this field is. So that's number one. Number two, we need women, and one of the recommendations I actually give a lot of organizations, given, you know, we've gone through this AI transformation journey, is it is now the new operating system. It is rapidly becoming to the point where we're not even going to know what AI is doing for us and what AI is not doing for us. So we need those skills. We need to understand and be able to evaluate
Is this where AI is helping me? Is it actually bringing innovative solutions? Or did this solution that it spit out, is it really biased and really problematic for my company, my organization, for society, right? And so this is where it's technology adjacent skills where you can really analyze and evaluate, and this is what every single one of us is going to need. And so we need our girls to start coding now so that they start gaining these skills now. And there really is no time to wait. So I would say Gen AI is definitely here to stay. In fact, I see the words in big letters everywhere. It's going to become so ubiquitous that we're not even going to know it's there. And we definitely need, within organizations, one of the big recommendations I give is DEI. The next step in DEI is to move DEI next to IT. The two sides of this organization should be working hand in hand. DEI has been around since the 1960s. It is a profession that has been well studied. IT could really learn a lot from those principles and from what has already come out from the way of best practices so that we can actually achieve ethical AI.
That is so interesting, Sarah, and I think that's so thought-provoking for the audience as well. We in our schools, we always include an AI model and actually module, and actually lately we have been actually focusing on AI ethics because of course we want AI to be inclusive, to be diverse, and to not discriminate. As you said, it's going to be everywhere, so let it be for the best. With your comments, I'm actually going to open the floor for any questions, if we have any, or comments. You can also say, I don't agree with anything you guys said, and so I want to counter. We have one hand raised. If anyone else has a question, just do it at the same time, and we will do one round. Anyone else? Yes, here. All right, so we have one question. Yes, please go ahead. They are going to bring you the microphone. You can introduce yourself quickly and ask your question or make your comments. And you can also say who you are addressing your question to, if possible.
Yeah. First of all, my name is Florencia. I'm from Argentina. I work in Mercado Libre. The question is for anyone who wants to answer. But I think that one of the main doubts I have is how did you deal with imposter syndrome? I think it's something that maybe most of us have experienced throughout our careers, but I think, and I read an article that said that women usually tend to have this more frequently, maybe because of all the obstacles we face in our careers and stuff. So I wanted to ask any of you who want to answer, a piece of advice to anyone here, how you dealt with it to achieve all that you have achieved in your careers.
Yeah, Maria Paula, go ahead. Great question, by the way.
Yeah. When we read about imposter syndrome, it bothers me that I see it all the time among the people around me, but also sometimes myself. And to be honest, many people can tell you that you're not an imposter, you can read it, but unless you jump into the pool, you'll never believe it yourself. If I ever got a doubt, there were a couple of moments in my life when I was the first woman in a male-dominated sector doing something at a high level, and it was scary, but I did it. And only when I did it, and only when I realized, hey, I am actually quite good and even better than I thought, then it started, well, building up, and now that's my fuel. Of course, many other things help, but it's just take a chance. No one will do it for you.
I would like to add, I think that you have to realize that this is your job to beat the imposter syndrome. This is your job. This is like something, this is the task you are doing. So once you are getting the feeling, you know this is like, you know, this eating the frog, right? You have to beat the imposter syndrome. This is part of your job, right? That's one thing. And should I give one advice to entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs? Do sports. Thank you.
Do sports, Mary. You want to comment on that?
That's well-being. It's about. I think very much like you said. In politics, it's very difficult for women to get elected and selected. And I was given that opportunity at 21 years of age. And I now have children who are older than that, and I wouldn't allow them to stay in the house on their own, some of them. But sometimes an opportunity will come your way and you just have to take it. The other thing in life which has changed immeasurably in the last 30 years is that not everybody's, actually most people never stay in the same job. And you can change your mind. It's the same as university. Change your mind. If it's not what you wanted when you were 18 years of age, you can change your mind. So now, if you're in a job and you take that opportunity and say, oh, I really regret doing that, you can change your mind. Or you might say, didn't I do the right thing? I think you just have to believe in yourself and you have to be resilient. It's easy for me. I've had so many years of experience, and experience will actually help you to move forward. But if you don't take that first opportunity, you're never going to create an experience, and therefore you're not going to be able to be resilient and build it. So just go for it. That's really what I would say.
And one last piece of advice, I don't know if you want it all of us, but you're going to get it, is also changing your mindset. I see a lot of young men in technology especially where they're okay to blast through a few mistakes. And the mistakes are part of the learning process. And I see the women who are programming and trying to be perfect. You can also make mistakes. So using mistakes as part of that learning process is really key.
Thank you all, ladies. And Florencia, I think it was your name as well. Just a last piece of advice. Think always, what would a man do? You know, I have seen men in meetings. I mean, sorry for all the men in the room, really, but you know, male colleagues in my previous job as well. We all have several results, right? And there is my male colleague who have absolutely very low results. Doesn't matter. Out of those low results, he would build you a castle in the air, okay? And me, maybe with double results, I'll be shy and like, yeah, maybe this is not so good, but fake it till you make it. You see what I mean? And you know why? Because you already made it. If you are asking yourself whether you're an imposter, it means you're not. That's the reality. So with this, we're going to close. Ladies, one last headline. What do you think? So one last headline from each of you. These young minds are going to take your words together with them back home. So Sarah, last headline.
Be bold. That's it.
Meaning like
yeah, believe in yourself, do something that you believe you would like to see in the world. Think about your legacy now, even when you're young, and who you want to be.
That's very important. Think about who you want to be and follow your heart. Maria Paula.
I already said it, but then a second one is that, coming back to your question, Florencia, is yes, fight for yourself for what you want, but then once you have progressed, help the others who are starting the path. So important. I had people, men, a lot of men actually, help me growing in my career path. And now I want to do the same whenever I see it.
Give back, that's the point. Mary.
To both men and women.
To everyone who helped you.
I think believing in yourself, and without a shadow of a doubt, have plenty of friends and family who are always there to bolster you, and be a mentor. As I heard someone talk about being an angel, that's a commercial thing. You can also be an angel when it is looking after someone who's just needs that little bit of help.
You will always be rewarded if you help someone, that's the truth. Kasia.
Okay, so once again, do sports. Ready?
Immediately now, everyone tonight in the hotel, in the gym.
Yes. And second thing, which I'm like occupied at the moment, is a buzzword, which is disrupt your feed on Instagram. So try to go out of your bubble and try to follow people or accounts on Instagram which are inspiring, which give you knowledge, which give you update, etc. Because otherwise you are in this, always in the same environment. And the worst thing is when you are, you follow too much, I don't know, manicure accounts, right? So the only thing which goes, when you want to relax, right? We all know we are binging our Instagram. So it is good to build a good to build the feed in the right way.
I once heard that social media can be the world's biggest university, and that's probably true. You just need to know who to follow, and you can learn. Sarah can tell you how much you can learn. You can make a PhD out of the people that you follow if you follow the right people. Anyway, ladies, thanks for this. It was a pleasure. This was Huawei Women's Roundtable at the Mobile World Congress 2024. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Machu Yao, Lina, and everyone in Huawei who made this possible. Enjoy Barcelona, and see you next year.
Can I just ask all the guests who have appeared, all the speakers, to come back up? I'm going to microphone. If anyone who's speaking, anyone who is on the panels, please, do you want to come back up?